If you want to work with us, you'll still have to deal with the hierarchy. Work your way up from the Apostle to the Once-Born, to the Keeper of the Threshold, all the way up to the Synod of Yearning and the Exalted herself. That's hard work. You'll have to earn the knowledge you gain. But trust me, it'll be worth it. And if the Synod gives you trouble, let me know.
Okay. So are you higher than the Synod? Because I don't know what that would help. Okay. So they're a little bit happy with us, and they gave us 400 food. To be fair, that's not too bad. Now I need to replace the grenade. That costs a chunk of materials, but I'm wondering if that is more expensive than the... Oh, that was added to my manufacturing queue, was it? Ooh, it takes 5 hours to make. But I'm not sure if that's better than what I spent. It's a little bit better. Yeah, it's a little bit better. Okay. Right, well, let's have a quick look at equipment. That's first and foremost, I want more ammo. So please pop some extra ammo in there. And since you gained a level, I don't really care for brawling. Bash and melee attacks do 50% more damage. What I really do care for, though, is being able to carry all this stuff, and I would love it if you could have a grenade. So let's pop down an extra grenade. Let's have a look at you. And I'm gonna need, I believe the grenades are, what, 2 weight? No, 1 weight, so we need an extra 3 strength. It's expensive, but there you go. And once you get a grenade, then you've got that. This has ammo for 6. It's not a great deal, but it'll do. What's wrong? Empty item slot, yeah. Well, when we get a grenade, it'll be better. Right. Pepster, let's have a look at you then. Overwatch cost is reduced by 1 action point. There's really no reason for not getting that. That's an amazing one. Let's get that. Did I give that heavy sniper ammo? No. It was the Hell 2 cannon. You worried me, champ. I would, however, like more ammo for you of both types. I'll take it from down there, and that means I need to give you a strength point. Now, I could save up. Strength is good because it gives you hit points and how far items can be thrown, but that, you know, for a sniper, I don't think that's as big of an issue. Willpower just gives you more will points to use. Now, this ability down here costs 3 will points, I believe. That's really good. So we want multiples of 3 at least. Speed determines how many tiles a character can move in 1 turn. I'm actually going to invest a lot into your will points. And every time I invest a bit into this, it goes up in terms of the cost. So 9 multiples of 3. We'll keep it at that. As for you, I want extra ammo, please, and thank you. Now, for you, I mean, that isn't too bad, because for 25, well, that would be 14 by itself, just to get the willpower. So we're getting this for 11 points, realistically, if you factor in the current willpower. Now, if we were getting that later, it would be even a bigger saving, but we definitely want Dash. Dash is amazing, and it costs 4 will points to use. So we now want this in multiples of 4, so I see no reason not to grab that. So there we go. Has that given you +2 willpower? Let me have a look. I don't see that. 50% bonus healing and +2 willpower. Oh, do you get more willpower when you heal? Oh, it's willpower when healing. Oh no, thank you very much, Lolash. It gives the willpower, but it doesn't change your base willpower. Oh, so that is actually really good then, because it doesn't increase the cost of willpower. That's really, really nice. Sure, I'll dump the rest of it into 8. So now we've got 10 willpower on this, on Killer Dove. That's really nice. And once again, going to do exactly the same thing. Going to grab dash. Now, strongman dropping 10 perception is not something I'm super interested in doing. I wish there was a way to see what your perception was. Like, just generally. Or what I would like is some extra ammo. And then just drop at least 2 points in there. Maybe even more. Sure, I'll take you up to 10 as well. Now, there is an argument to be made for now that I've given them dash to get their speed up, and that is something I'm going to be investing in, but I think initially just getting that extra bit of willpower is a better first level, simply because it doesn't just mean that they can use their abilities more. I mean, getting that extra 2 points over 8 didn't really give us an ability to use it more, except it means that every time they recover, they'll gain 5 instead of 4. Again, that doesn't give them a full use of dash. Having 8 willpower would mean that every time you recover the next turn, you can still use dash because you would have gotten back 4, but you'll always be at 0 doing that. Whereas this one gives you just a little bit of a buffer. Being at 0 willpower doesn't cause you to panic if you spent the will points, but being dropped below it, from what I understand, causes a panic, and then you miss your whole next turn, which is, as you can imagine, pretty bloody rubbish. Fireworm autopsy is available. We get some materials for that. Chiron autopsy. Wow, well, it gives a lot of stuff. What are we doing? Cutting it up and eating it? Chirons were first described as a cross between a beetle and an artillery launcher. Dissecting one would bring more insight into the firing mechanism of their bioorganic weapons. I mean, would that teach us bioorganic weapons? I'd be okay with this. Takes 3 bloody days, though. I think it would be better to grab the Haven recruitment protocols. The leader of a reconnaissance team has proposed that we attempt to recruit capable people from the Havens. They might not share the technological know-how of the Phoenix Project operatives, but have been battle-hardened by the horrors of the world. We can now recruit soldiers from Havens. That would be useful, so I'm going to pop that one in after Disciples of Honor. In fact, I might pop that in above Disciples of Honor. I will, yeah. But if we start hiring people, I'm going to need to start making them gear. Now, you might have already noticed that the armors are different. As far as I'm aware, the Golem B body armor is the only one that has a proficiency that affects anything. And that is anyone who isn't a heavy or doesn't... I don't know if there's a skill for proficiency with jet jump, but only the heavies have proficiency with jet jump naturally. But that is actually pretty cool. But that's the only one that I'm aware of. It drops your stealth by 20%, it drops your accuracy by 10%, and gives no perception bonus. Drops your speed by 2, but it's pretty hefty armor. Odin helmet, Odin legs, I mean, it's all the same stuff, they just weigh different amounts. The legs and the body armor give +1 to speed, but that's all. But they've got a flat 20 armor. The golem stuff is high armor. But minus speed, minus perception. So you can see less far, and you're also less stealthy, and you're also less accurate. But 27 armor, so 7 more armor. The legs are 10 extra armor. And remember that armor is just mitigating that much damage out of every hit. So if something did 30 damage and hit your armor, your leg armor, assuming it didn't have shredding, then it just does no damage. As far as I'm aware, Lolash, is there a minimum to damage you can take? Like, is it always a case you'll always take some damage? Oh, thank you very much for the Twitch Prime there, Angela's Folly. Hello, Aavak. Take more of Jeff's money. I love that. I approve. I will spend Jeff's money on ferret treats. No, if you get hit for 30 points and have 30 armor, you giggle. Marvelous, I approve. As long as they don't have shredding, because if they got shredding, then suddenly your 30 armor is not 30 armor anymore. But I think the shredding is applied after the attack. So the first shot would do no damage. The consecutive shots would do more. Ever increasingly more. Banshee helmets. Super low armor. 6 points less than the lightest helmet. And a full whopping great 15 points less than the Golem helmet. But perception +5. So we can see 5 tiles further out. You're 3% more stealthy and 10% more accurate. The leg armor, much the same. You've got a little bit of a drop in speed from the Banshee body armor, but that's 18. That's the closest to this. And it's literally the opposite. It just drops you. I mean, I don't know. About 10% accuracy, though. Would I rather go for... It's also lighter. Would I rather go for lightly armored but highly accurate troops? I think so. Yeah, 30% extra accuracy for our sniper in total. And 5 tiles further out sight. Also, a total of 14% extra stealth as well. If I were to swap out our heavies gear, though, because they've got in total minus 30 on accuracy, yes, you're quite right, chat. That would be a gain of 60% for a heavy. But I wouldn't want to lose the jetpack. I think it's quite feasible to give the heavies lighter armor. Just because they're carrying a heavy weapon doesn't mean they need to be in front of the enemy. That's a playstyle option. That isn't necessary for the heavy. Heavies are going to typically have more strength if you're playing with heavy armor, because they're going to need more strength to carry any good equipment along with their armor. But you don't need to play it that way. That's the beauty of this game. Very much like XCOM Apocalypse, you could mix and match armor all the time. I'd always give, like, most of my squad would have the Marsec body armor, even though it was super low armor, because it was anti-gravity. They could just hover up to the, you get the facehuggers, you just hover up. Well, actually, no, the facehuggers had ridiculous jump, but, there's plenty of enemies that couldn't get high enough to really pose a threat to you if you just hovered up to the height map of the building you were in and just rain death down on things. It was really good. Or if there was a door, you just hover up above the door and have your machine gunners just basically guarding the entrance. Anything come through, just dagger, dagger, dagger into the crown of its head. Thank you very much, Nightly Prophet. Subscribed with Twitch Prime for 18 months. You put me to shame so much. Oh, has it been 18 months already? Oh, apparently. I'm probably going to lean towards wanting more of this, but they're very expensive. Look at those prices. That would be 320 materials. I don't think we can afford that just yet. We could, however, afford a scarab. It has 4 shots. It has a speed of 24, 700 hit points, and armor 31. Yeah, see, the tank being the newbie trap, that was always how I felt about the original XCOM. I never felt that the tank really helped because it was so in the way all the time. But I will say, from what I understand of this game, now I haven't played with the Scarab at all, but from what I understand of this one, it has one difference over the original XCOM heavy vehicles that you could field. It doesn't gain XP. Yeah, that's absolutely true. So there's a bunch of functionality you wouldn't get with it. It's kind of like fielding the Castellan robot in Mechanicus, when you could just field an extra tech priest. That tech priest is going to be a lot more powerful than the Castellan if you give it EXP. But the Castellan isn't going to improve. However, this vehicle is an APC. You can load troops into it and move them around the battlefield. Now, for slow-moving troops, this is amazing. Also for extractions and things like that, it would be amazing. But I think we're going to hold off because there's a bunch of stuff that I want to do in here before we get to that. Now, we've got a medical bay, we've got a living quarters, we've got a satellite uplink, which means that we can do one satellite scan at a time. We've got a fabrication plant, generator, a research lab. What else could we build? We could make food, because currently we're using up food. If we did this, then we would... A food production facility that generates enough food for 8 soldiers each day. Currently, that means we would have a surplus. Trading goods. We could use food to trade for things. We could get a training facility. Now, a training facility means that any soldier who's just chilling out of the base, perhaps because they're healing, will gain 2 experience points per hour for each training facility in the base. That's pretty good, I'm going to be honest. Other things we could do, we could build a manufacturing area, so we'd be able to build things a little bit faster. We could build a research lab once we get enough tech. An AI-controlled facility for all research projects, which would allow us to research things a lot faster. Scarab is juicy. It doesn't steal squad EXP. It has long-range artillery-style rockets. You can keep your troops safe and use it to help reposition. It's definitely a worthwhile investment, but you don't want to rely on it. Well, no, exactly. It'll be much like in the original XCOM. There were some maps where the tank was amazing. Absolutely amazing, especially because you could rejig its loadout. I'm not sure if you'll be able to do that here. But there was some place... You didn't want to take a tank, for example, on a base attack, because it's just all tight corridors, and it just doesn't work. But in a nice open map, it was not too bad. And there were definitely times where it was genuinely just, it would ruffle stomp the enemy. However, without having played with this enough, I don't know where it would be. Aavak, you can highlight the weapon to get its stats when looking at the unit info. Oh, okay. Thank you very much for that. Let me have a look then. So if I click on you. Ah, Phoenix Scarab missile turrets. Blast 80, Shred 4, Burst 2. So it fires 2 at a time. Effective range 40. Blast radius 3.5. Action points 3, so use an entire turn to fire, more or less. Ammo capacity is 8. Okay, so it can fire... the capacity. Does that mean it can carry 4 people? It probably does, actually. So we'd get 4 shots out of this, 2 rockets each. For a decent amount of damage. So, yeah, I mean, 160 potentially, depending on armor, per round. It's not terrible. I think for me, I'm leaning very heavily towards the training facility or the manufacturing facility or the research lab. Now, we'd have to save for the research lab, whereas the manufacturing facility would be good. Simply because I think the initial investment is going to be the biggest gain. Now, there is something to be said about specializing the bases, though. So, for example... Like, if I wanted to make a base with a training facility, I'd probably just make it with a living quarters, a medical bay, and then train lots of training facilities so that if anyone was stationed there, they're getting a lot of EXP. Oh, take care, Lolash. Have a good sleep, buddy. I think ultimately the question on whether we should go with the Scarab or not, it's entirely playstyle. I can see some very strong opinions in chat, but it really does come down to playstyle. There is no concrete answer. It might be awful in your hands, but divine in someone else's. It just comes down to the way you play. And I don't think there's anything more that can be said on that. But for what it's worth, when playing the original XCOM, and I'm only really going to compare this to the original XCOM, because I feel that's the closer comparison. I used the tanks very little, because I generally felt having more soldiers, especially high-ranking ones, gave me more combat potential than the equivalent space of tank. Boscaro, yes, I do have a fabrication plant, and currently this is effectively giving me 1 fabrication plant's worth of ability. So the next fabrication plant I have will literally double everything. And Scarabs cannot gain XP, no. I'm really tempted to lay down the materials for a fabrication plant. It's going to take us 4 days to build it. Sure. Let's get that going. Let's get that going early. Rightio. How are the troops? The troops are probably really bloody knackered is how the troops are. Let's go ahead and move back for now. I've got a new location. Let's have a look at my personnel. Yeah, their stamina is so bad. That really dropped off. Rough times. Okay. Well, we're just going to wait for a little bit. We're going to find a couple more sites around. Production of Odin grade complete. We're fully healed. There we go. Ooh. Disciples of Anu started research project mutation technology. New Jericho started the... Oh, wow. Where went? Did that say anything? Ah. I only saw the New Jericho started production of something. And, yeah. I assume that all of them did. Synedrian started production. That's actually pretty cool that they're all researching different things. Right. Okay, so we finished our manufacturing. So I should be able to just pop in here, give everyone a grenade. I'm going to want more of these, though. So I should start making more. There are always going to be a few things that I want more of at all times. So now these are one use. I'm going to pop down... Oh, they're instant, so I don't need to worry about it too much. I'll pop down another 3-4 grenades. There we go. So that'll give us 2 days worth of manufacturing right now, or 1 day once the second containment is built. Right, we've got 10 hours on the Phoenix Archives, but let's move out and do some more exploring. Message history next to the timer. Oh, so there is. Thank you so much for spotting that, King of Kings. Really appreciate that. Synedrian started research project neurotoxin weapons, and New Jericho started research project neural implant technology. All right. Quite useful. Explore. Before this mist covers this area, if we can. Old World. Gursu. In one of the public squares in Gursu, a loud debate between a supporter of Synedrian and a local priestess has drawn a lot of attention. The debate itself is actually friendly, as the two women have known each other for a long time, but there is an unusual intensity in the crowd as arguments fly back and forth. People are deeply invested. Okay, interesting. The Synedrian supporter argues that there is a lot that we can learn from the old world, that not everything was bad, just the way it was organized, and that we could build a civilization that had many of the same features but without the systemic flaws. The priestess disagrees. She thinks the old world was fundamentally broken, and that without a change in human nature, we would just repeat all the same mistakes again. I mean, you could definitely play this game aiming to friend one faction over another. And of the three factions, I know which one I think sounds the more interesting to ally with and thus learn the secrets of. But I'm going to side with the Synedrian one just because I feel that argument is the better one. There is far too much to be admired about the old world to just dismiss it as sinful or broken. The system that dominated the world was incapable of correctly distributing resources and couldn't respond to a planetary scale crises. But that doesn't mean everything about that time is bad. It's not about human nature. Human nature isn't really a steady concept, but something that changes based on material conditions, and it's those conditions we have to take control of. Disciples of Anu, attitude towards Phoenix project is -3, but Synedrian is +4. Now, if we have a quick look at our diplomacy, we're friendly 7%. We don't even know Synedrian, but apparently they like us a little bit. So that's another base. That's kind of cool. Let's go and explore this one next, just because it's so close to the mist. I want to try and get these explored as fast as we can. The Phoenix Archives. After recovering the base and analyzing the databanks that have been left functional, it is clear the Phoenix Point is now the only operating Phoenix base. There may be other bases out there, but we will need time to find them and bring them back online. There is no sign of Randolph Symes III, but he has left something potentially useful for us. Okay. Ooh, cutscene.
Randolph Symes was the last leader of the Phoenix Project. His great-grandfather had been there when it was founded, and he was there to witness its end. When we took back Phoenix Point, we found his notes. In his final days, as the world collapsed around him, he'd been working frantically to understand the Pandora virus. Somewhere in the complicated history of the project, in decades of missions and investigations, there had to be an answer. His notes were damaged, too many of the files corrupted. But perhaps, if we could retrace his steps, we could figure out where his journey had taken him and what the answers he had discovered would mean for us.
Very interesting indeed. Sorry for the break there. I have to let Tilly out. Okay. So Randolph Symes III's notes indicate the existence of a private retreat owned by Symes' family. Used as a place of meditation and research, it may contain information that could help us understand what Symes was trying to achieve in his final days. Site added to the geoscape. The Symes Retreat. We should send our operatives to investigate. Where? Oh, it's not too far out, actually. We can probably reach it without too much problem. Right, we're working on Haven recruitment protocols. We've also got the Oniric Delirium Index. We could develop the Oniric Delirium Index concept proposed by Randolph Symes III into a system for tracking the unusual mental phenomena caused by the Pandora presence. This would effectively unlock the Doom Clock, much like the more recent XCOM remakes. There is a kind of a persistent threat that is slowly ticking up. If you don't address it, then it will eventually win just by time. This would let us see what that is. So it's not a huge priority right now, but it is something that we want to get to. It'll only take 13 hours, but that's half a day. And there are many things that would only take a day and would actually give us a tangible benefit immediately. So I don't think we're going to be going for these. I think I'm going to let these finish, since we're going to get a tangible benefit from that. This is going to be a big one, because it'll allow us to recruit more troops, and we want to do that really quickly. But then we're going to start moving on to the autopsies. Probably the big ones first. Simply because these tend to give us access to new stuff that will be useful for us to have. Like weapons and that kind of thing. Right. Exploration site. Welcome to hell. Our operatives are set down outside an old prison facility. The whole place is still locked up tight, but using some heavy cutting equipment, our people have been able to get inside. There's hundreds of corpses in here, all in various states of decomposition. The smell is terrible. What's truly horrifying is to think that all of these people were just left to die, not even given a chance to fight for their lives. Oof. No, we'll search the prison. Our operatives brave the awful conditions and manage to gather up the resources they can find. The worst find of all is that there was food in the storage rooms while people starved in their cells. Ooh, that is actually pretty hefty. But yeah, our soldiers lost 10 stamina for that. That's as much as we lost in that awful mission. Okay. Well, we're going to need to head back then and recover a bit. Let that stamina come back. Production complete. Odin grenades. There we go. Fully rested. We want to... Well, do we want to push the mission forward that fast? Kind of. Really. We're going to hit these points before moving on, I think. So have a bit of an explore. See what we can find. It's becoming nighttime though. Heads up. Ahead. Our operatives have discovered a large screaming head which appears to have grown on top of an old warehouse. The head is only vaguely human and in some ways resembles a very large pumpkin. Its eyes bulge and drip with a viscous, pus-like fluid. Stalks resembling antennae grow from its balding pate. Pate? Not sure what that means. It appears to be screaming the same word over and over, something like Uglog or Nukot in a variety of intonations. A pate is the top of the head. Oh, okay. Thank you, chap. Every day is a school day. Just search the warehouse, destroy the head in search of the warehouse, or contact the disciples of Anu. This probably seems like something that they might like, so sure. The disciples sent a team to investigate and promised to share any interesting findings. They are thankful for being alerted to the existence of this cephalic novum, whether it turns out to be sacred or just an aberration. Nice. That actually replenished their attitude towards us. Wow, we got 50 research from that. That's not bad. I like. So we're going to get that in 0 hours now. That is not a bad return.
Research complete.
Okay, Haven recruitment protocols. We have created a set biometric and psych eval tests in order to identify potential recruits. We need to locate havens with leaders favorable to our cause and barter any resources they want in order to secure our recruitment choices. It will probably be cheaper and easier for us to get recruits from havens with higher populations. Okay. Right, recruiting soldiers. Recruiting is vital in order to achieve victory. In order to recruit, send your aircraft to a haven with a recruit soldier icon next to it. You will need to zoom in to see them. Then select Haven Info from the side menu and press the recruitment button on the training zone of the haven. You can only recruit if you have enough resources and the haven leader has a positive attitude to Phoenix. Alright, got new research as well. Haven trade protocols. Some trade between havens occurs, but it is a difficult and dangerous process. With our access to transportation, we are in a unique position to assist the different settlements by providing supplies. This might be a perfect opportunity to establish trade relations that would benefit all sides. Yes, I would like that. Right, have any of these havens... Oh, no, damn it, no. Damn it. That was silly. It's not what I wanted to do. Right, you stay there. I want to see what this is. Research Center, elite residences. Havens with substantial populations belong to either New Jericho or the Subs of Anu, have elite residential districts for their ruling class. The disciples of Anu priest class live in luxurious villas with vast temple complexes. Havens will generally provide enough accommodation for their populations, but they are vulnerable to Pandoran attack. The teeming chaotic slums of the disciples of Anu havens house the devoted mass of followers. Next generation food production. Food production zones provide a substantial amount of food for a haven and contribute some food to allied havens within influence range. The disciples have ingeniously engineered fungus mutations to create food mostly safe for humans. Mostly safe. That's also awful. Mist status free. Increases starvation rate and risk of Pandoran attack. Right, okay, so if it's under mist, it's going to be more likely to have problems. Foxel, thank you very much for subscribing with Prime. 9 months. Twitch baby time. I name our Twitch baby... Well, you know what? With the whole Randolph Signs the Third, we shall name it Foxel the Fourth. Just because, really, you know, the bigger the number, the more of a conversational point it might be. It'd break the ice a bit, you know. You're the fourth, and if I'm no, actually, I'm the second. But yeah, it was just to pick the number, really. I might have been the seventh. I don't know. With a research center, you could raid, and you'd get away with research. It's a faster way of gaining research by far. Research centers contribute research effort to a faction's research project. The Subs of Anu research is dressed up in religious ritual, but it's actually advanced in genetic modification. I'm not sure we're going to be doing that. Research center here as well, so there's 2 of them. Okay. Lots of food. Decently high. Decently high populations as well. I think I'm going to search this location We need to place to area scan, actually. So we're going to move over here and we're going to area scan in this location. It's now daytime. Good. Area scan there, please. And now that this is day, I think it's probably wise for us to make a move and just go and check out this area as quickly as we can.
Research complete.
Disciples of Anu. The Disciples of Anu are a syncretic religion formed out of several previous cults. The Children of the Black Tide, the Holy Disciples of the Zengnostic Doctrine, and the Order of Anu, but a messianic figure known only as the Exalted. She forged the disparate elements of the cult into a unified belief system built around her visions of Anu, the dead god. The Disciples of Anu leadership follows a strict hierarchy. The access to the Exalted is reserved only for the most faithful. Should we seek out an alliance with her, we would first have to gain the approval of her servants, the Apostle of the Onceborn, the Keeper of the Threshold, the Voiceless Hierophant, the Blind Legate, the Shadowed Hierarch, and finally, the Synod of the Yearning, the latter said to be a compound being of some kind, effectively runs the day-to-day operations of the Disciples. Ooh, that sounds very interesting. We've got 200 food for that. We're up to 900 food now.
The Disciples of Anu were a mystery. Where others saw devastation, they saw hope. Where others saw the end of the world, they saw a new beginning. Their leader called herself the Exalted, and she claimed to believe in humanity. She preached that the human soul was perfect, that the root of our problems was our insufficient evolution. The Pandora virus was a threat, but it was also an opportunity to change ourselves, to become better humans, to mutate. We knew that humanity needed to adapt. There was no other way to survive. The disciples offered a solution, but what was their end game? There was something beyond their hierarchies and their rituals. The Exalted had a secret.
Ooh. Okay, so the game's straight up saying that, yeah, don't trust these people. That's interesting. All right. Well, that's very interesting, in fact. It actually does seem to have like little like slums around the areas. That's pretty cool. Like it has like an effect on the map. Okay, continue on to our destination. Right, the Symes retreat. Mission briefing. Our operatives have reached Randolph Syme III's private retreat, where we may be able to find additional information that may help us decipher his notes and make sense of his activities. However, our scans indicate an enemy presence in the area. Alright. Well, let's start the mission. And hope that we're okay. We've got a decent amount of equipment, so, well, it's as decent as it can be. If your soldier does not have the right class to use a weapon proficiently, accuracy will be lower and they might fumble when using it, fail to take a shot, but still use the action points.